Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Macon Campbell and this is maconSTUFF. So it's been a hot minute since I actually made anything on this channel. In fact, the last thing I made were the roof mount bicycle racks that I made about 2 months ago. And the last time that I made anything that wasn't bicycle related was the mini brass cannon that I made about 3 or 4 months ago. So I guess it's high time to do something a little bit different. Now, what I'm planning to do today is something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. There's this page that I follow on Instagram called Leroy's Wooden Tattoos, and he makes the most beautiful skull rings out of wood and brass and stone and anything else that you can imagine. But what makes these rings special is that he uses a silver core for the rings, which I think looks really nice and probably feels really comfortable to wear. Now, seeing that I don't have access to the tools or the materials to make silver cores for my rings, I've decided that I'm going to try using stainless steel. So instead of buying stainless steel bar stock, I decided I'm going to go for these. These are stainless steel nuts, and I've got them in these 2 different sizes, which should give me a couple of options in terms of sizing. Now, as I mentioned, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. I have, in fact, a couple of months ago, turned down one of each of these nuts just to see if it would work, and it did. These are the 2 that I made, but one thing I will say is that my lathe and the tools that I was using did struggle quite a lot in getting these down to these sizes. So I could obviously just start off with these blanks that I've already made, but I'm not going to do that. In the interest of showing you the whole process, I'm going to take a raw nut and turn it down into this blank, and then I'm going to turn the outer out of wood. Now, I haven't decided what wood I'm going to use yet. I've got teak here, I've got some rosewood, and I've also got a little bit of maple. I'm going to turn and size this ring to fit on my pinky finger, but I'm most probably not going to wear this. I'm probably going to give it to my eldest daughter, who's been on my case for a while to make a ring. And for this first test run, I'm not going to be making anything fancy like carving skulls or anything like that. I'm just going to make a plain band just to see if everything works the way I've envisioned it, and if it does, then hopefully in the future I'll be doing more daring carved rings. So stay tuned for that. Now, without any further ado, let's grab this, head over to the lathe and get to work. Okay, so I got the sides turned relatively flat and I've got the inner dimensions slightly smaller than I need it to be. I'm hoping that with sanding and with polishing, I'll get that up to a perfect fit. Now what I need to do is turn down the outside. Now the tool used for this specific job is called a ring mandrel. You get them for different sizes of rings, and you also get ones that accommodate a number of sizes of rings. Now I've checked on the internet, these things don't cost a whole lot of money, but getting them shipped here to Namibia does cost a whole lot of money. So a couple of months ago, in preparation for this particular job, I went ahead and I made my own ring mandrel. This is made out of brass, simply because that's the only bar stock that I had in the right size. But let's get it chucked up and see how it works. Okay, so I've turned the ring core to the dimensions that I think I'm going to use. The wall thickness on this is just over 1.5 millimeters thick, and the outside is just a tad under 22 millimeters, which I think is going to work nicely. So here are the options for the actual ring body. As I mentioned, there is a maple, rosewood, and some Rhodesian teak. I showed all of these options to my daughter, and the one that she prefers is this Rhodesian teak. This is definitely the hardest out of the three, but I also think that it's going to make a really nice ring. So I'm going to cut this down into a blank that I can use on my wood lathe, and then I'm going to turn it down into a rough cylinder and drill a hole in it that is slightly smaller than what I need. And I think I'm going to move over to the machine lathe to creep up to a nice tight fit. And I think I'll also stick to the machine lathe for the sanding and the finishing. So let's do it. Okay, so my daughter asked me if I could make this ring a little bit thinner as it's a little bit bulky and thick for her finger. So I'm going to do that on both of these off camera and I'll check back when it's done. Okay, now I just got to glue these up, and to do that I'm going to use this two-part epoxy. Now one thing that I will mention is when I chuck this up to turn the width down a bit, I tightened the chuck a little bit too much and I did pick up a little crack here on the side. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. I'm going to be putting epoxy in there anyway, so I'll just make sure to get some epoxy into that crack and I'll tape it up and we should be good. Okay, so I'm finished polishing up the inside and I think it turned out really nice. The stainless steel is really hard, so it took quite a bit to get it this far. There is, however, a little problem that I ran into, and that is that I opened up this crack again, and I suspect what happened is while I was polishing the core on the inside, it heated up quite considerably, and I think as a result of that it expanded a little bit and opened up this crack again. So I think for future reference what I'm going to do is I'm going to polish up the ring core before I glue the actual ring body over it. After polishing the inside, the outside doesn't look as nice anymore. So I'm going to have to put this back onto the mandrel and re-sand and recoat the outside. And then we should be done. So let's do it. Okay, there we go guys, it's done, and I must say I'm pleasantly surprised by how well that turned out. There were a couple of hiccups along the way, but these were all valuable lessons learned that I can take with me in the future. As you can see, I still have a whole bunch of blanks left of this Rhodesian teak, and I'll definitely be using these to hone my skills. So I'm definitely going to be looking to source some other materials that I can make some rings out of. And then obviously the eventual goal is to make carved rings, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video. So this was basically my very first ring, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be my last. So if you'd like to see what else I'm going to make in the future, go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so that you can get notified of future uploads. So with all that said, once again, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. If you have any comments or suggestions, drop them down below. And as always, till next time, keep making stuff.